Speak up, speak out. Let's talk about it. Welcome to the show where you can show your love, no doubt about it. Where self-love and self-worth are the topics of the day. Right here on the Just Blah Show, where love is the only way. And here are your hosts, Barb and Faye.
Hi, welcome to Just Blah. This is Faye.
This is Barb.
And today we are going to be talking about integrity. Barb and I came across this nice little list, so we were going to just kind of cover these items and just get some Barb's feedback on this. And it's called the 12 characteristics, I said that wrong, characteristics of a person with true integrity. Well, first off, let's talk about what integrity is to you.
Me?
Yes.
Integrity. Well, I think that's really, the only thing that comes in my brain is choosing from the heart without expectations.
Oh, nice. Okay, so I read over the list, and the first one that they've mentioned, and this is something that you always use, is called they are authentic, which to the way they described it was someone who is, that aren't trying to be above anyone else, and they're humble and they're really easy to talk to. Do you want to kind of expand on what being authentic is? I'm sure it's more than that.
Yeah, well, authenticity is living from the heart and just being you, not being caught up in somebody else's story and just living your own story, what you want to create, without getting into the fear of people pleasing, meaning worrying about what people perceive you as. And if you show up with your heart, then you show up in the passion, and then it radiates from you. To me, that's authenticity.
Well, that's cool. And I would agree with that. You can't expand on it. To me, it's just being who you are and being true to yourself. That to me is being authentic.
Yeah.
So I'm just going to move into the next one because the next one's kind of a good one.
Okay.
Because I
don't know the list.
No, I know. The next one, and this one really rings true with me because I have I'm still working on people being on time. It is one of my biggest pet peeves, and I've had to learn to be accepting of other people and accept them where they're at with, not being on time. It's just a thing for me. But what they're saying on this list was that they know that other people's time has value, which means they value not only you but your time as well, and that they recognize that. So someone who's authentic is on time. Someone who lives an authentic life. It's part of being truly authentic is by not just honoring the person, but their time as well.
Well, what I'm hearing you say that is an authentic person is a person who honors the other person's time. What I'm hearing you say is they're living to the truth and the agreement they made with the other person, and it sends the message that you are worthy of that time. It might be a trigger because it feels like you're not worth their time or you're not as important and that you don't matter, so it triggers those deeper wounds. A person in integrity lives with intention, and so if you make an agreement that I'll be there at 8 o'clock and then I'm not there and it's 8:15 and I hadn't reached out to you and say I'm stuck in traffic, or give you courtesy to let you know why.
Yes, and that's important.
It's important because it's about not just being honest with yourself, but it's also being in integrity with the relationship that you have with that person. Because if you have that pattern of doing that, then it's like crying wolf all the time. People just start not.
But you also could be like, it's like, this is who they are, and things happen, and I get it, and you just I just build it into my plan.
Sure. And so if you have somebody who continually say 8 o'clock, but they're not getting there until 8:15 or 8:30 every single time, and it's happened 4, 5, 6 times, that's information for you to decide how you'd like to move forward with that person and make a choice. Don't make them wrong in it. You can invite them and say, if you make it, you make it, and if you don't, you don't, and you go on with the activity, and it's not about you.
And that's what I've learned to do is it's like, if there's a dinner date and I'm like starving, and a good example would have been the function we went to the other night.
Oh yeah.
And we there was a few of us that were there on time, and we gave grace in the sense of we'll give them 20 minutes, and then we're gonna eat. And we did. We all stuck to it and got up and ate. And then 5 minutes later, of course, everybody else showed up. But that's just how it is. And you have to be okay. And I was okay with it.
I was fine with it.
I was like, okay, as long
I was
as
hungry.
I was hungry. I was like, I'm not waiting anymore. And so I get. And then things happen, and I get it. So I mean, I had to get away from that. Putting judgment on someone when they're late, but I get it being being authentic.
Absolutely.
But also being on time also means that if you're not going to be able to be on time, is to be able to reach out and let that person that's waiting for you. It's a way of honoring their time and go, listen, I know that we had this agreement.
It's not really about their time. It's about honoring your own word for yourself.
Yes.
Because every action you show, your brain is taking that information in about yourself.
Yes.
So if you're building a world of illusion that it's okay to be late and to be that way, and you're just saying that you're doing self-care, well, you're going to be, you might be doing self-care, but it's in a very, very egotistical, selfish way, not reaching out, because it only takes 30 seconds to send a text.
Yes.
So, I mean,
or canceling 5 minutes before you're supposed to be there. Yeah,
but that's okay. Even if somebody cancels, at least you know.
Yeah.
And then you can make different, plans.
Well, not 5 minutes before. Like,
well,
if you're
no, but I meant not.
Yeah.
I mean, if you future plans with that person.
Yes. Yeah.
I mean, it is just what it is, and there's no right or wrong in it. It's just, like you said, choices.
It's choices.
Yeah.
So the next one that they got, and I know we could talk forever on each one of these, but the next one they're listing is they give credit to other people, and I'm a big believer in that. I'm not the one that needs to go out and wear the crown and be in the spotlight. I'm totally fine with credit, giving credit to someone else if they've earned the credit or earned it with you. I don't necessarily need to be there.
I don't necessarily have a problem being in the spotlight. I mean, because it's where I shine.
Yeah, let people shine.
Yeah. But I do believe in giving credit where credit's due, and not to toot your own horn, to be like, look at me. But or look at them. It's really a form, at least to me, a form of acknowledgement of their contribution to whatever you're sharing.
Yes, and it's just allowing someone to shine and giving them a compliment and just let them have their moment without trying to take it away from them. Even if you did it together. It's just like if you're on a team at work, it's the manager that stands up and takes the bow, even if there's an entire team. Hopefully they would acknowledge their team, but if it doesn't, it has to be, you have to do it without judgment.
Well, and the thing is when you have that type of manager who stands up and takes all the kudos and the gifts and all that, that's fine, because the team goes, okay, that's our representative. They're our team. They're our leader. Yeah. But I guarantee you, because being in that environment, if there is no credit given to the team or acknowledgement, then it creates the disconnect.
Yeah,
and may or may not happen again. You may not have that connectiveness and that fluidness and the synergy within the team.
Yeah.
So that's part of the responsibility, I believe, if you're going to step forward in any type of leadership, that you have to be mindful of those type of things. And if it's an oversight that you truly forgot, to go back and do what I call cleanup and apologize, and then and I would like, if in a team setting where I was acknowledgement, like say in an environment in an office, I would send out an email and say, I did not at the moment remember, because I, no
in the excitement,
in the excitement, but I want to acknowledge my team and everything that they did, because I couldn't do it without them. But that's just me personally.
Yeah.
But it's to each his own. It's a journey of learning
lessons.
and growing.
Yeah. Lessons. And this is pretty generic. They're humble. What's humble?
What's humble? Really, it's humble is really a perception. I mean, in the true sense of being Christ conscious and stuff, I would consider that being humble. But it's more of, it kind of goes along with grace, right? It's not something that it's a product of choices you've made. It's not something you can, I'm just humble. It's not. It's just like, it's just the afterglow of, say, being compassionate or being tender or being loving.
Yeah.
That's what I call the afterglow is grace and humbleness. I mean, you can't just practice being humble. I mean, I guess you can practice being humble, but to practice being humble, you have to have all this. You have to have gratitude and compassion and all this stuff in front of it. So it's the afterglow. What I call the afterglow.
They don't mind doing like the grunt work and they're not seeking praise, and sometimes it's even like in a work situation you're going through and you make a mistake and you own it and go, that's my mistake, and it humbles you because you're like, crap, I made a mistake. but everybody makes a mistake in business.
It's the way
and
you
personal.
perceive it and process it.
And how you show up, and I think part of being humble is owning whatever it is that you're doing, or like helping someone without any expectations. And to me, that's being humble. It's just kind of a place of service almost.
It is a place of service. I think it's part of the definition of true service and the energy of service. And you bring up a good point. It is about getting down and doing the grunt work, and it doesn't mean they have to do it all the time. But if there's a space and it's needed,
it's choice.
And they're willing to jump in and do it, and it's not like, oh my God, I'm the boss and I shouldn't be doing this.
Yeah.
That's not humble.
Yeah.
But it's
or
you
going, I'm doing this, and they're complaining the whole time. Oh my God, I can't believe I have to do all this overtime, which is a really big example. Or they're complaining about this. That's not being humble. No.
Humble is being grateful to have the opportunity to assist somebody else.
Yes.
I mean, in short terms.
Yeah. I agree with that. I mean, it's kind of fluid. I think it's interpretation sometimes. And has to do with the cultures and things like that.
Sure. I want everybody to know these are just our perceptions of our lives.
Totally of our opinions. Yeah. There's no right or wrong way of interpreting it. We're just kind of covering these things. It's kind of a fun little list, though. Kind of a good little reminder. It's like, I got to work on that one. The other one that they're big on apologizing, which is a good thing. So when you do make a mistake, you own it, and you're a big enough person to admit that you made a mistake. And if apologies are needed, then make them and be okay with it, and not beat yourself up over it.
Yeah, and also with the apologies, we have to be careful with this one because it's really with the intention why we're apologizing. Because for me, I remember I used to say I would apologize for everything, even if it wasn't my fault, just to keep the peace, which would be a form of behavior. So when you actually, what you're talking about and what I believe this list is talking about is when we truly make a mistake and we don't really realize it until after the fact to go back and do what I call cleanup and go back to that person and to release it, like the Ho'oponopono practice, correct?
Yes.
And if not just and it's never for the other person, it's for you. So it's not in your energetic field creating muck in there. And if they accept it or not, it's not your business, but you're offering it to them as a...
Whether they accept it or not.
Whether accept it or not. And, some people can't, and that's okay. And it's not having the attachment of, well, I asked for your forgiveness, so therefore you have to. No, it's just giving them the space to accept it.
Okay. And that's true. And then I'm just kind of reviewing here. Sorry, I was kind of distracted here. They know when someone is wrong. And I think what they're saying here that they realize when other people make mistakes, and then they're quick to forgive or be understanding.
They're being gracious.
They're being gracious, and that's being approaching the situation with integrity. Isn't judging them, but recognizing, accept it, go, okay, you made a mistake, it's fine, and then move on and be able to move forward and let it go and not hang on to that. Don't hang on to it where it becomes a resentment, or because that's where resentment comes in. I would think if you're hanging on to those.
Well,
those
resentment
things.
comes with expectation.
Yeah.
And
so I think someone with integrity is able to let that go and move on.
Yeah, and you would want to let that go. I mean, for me, it's very selfish. I mean, it's selfish in a good way because I don't want to hold on to that energy. I don't want to be bogged down with that negativity.
Yes.
So I'm, I don't want to say quick. I mean, I'm thoughtful in my when I'm asking for apologies or I'm giving apologies. And it's all usually heart-centered, and it's usually from a place of not intentionally making a mistake, but something that happened and it turned into a mistake, and I didn't realize it was a mistake.
Yes.
But to be able to see it when they come, usually they go, "This is what it was." I was like, "Oh, okay. I apologize for that."
Yes, and then also the vice versa. If you know that someone else is wrong, you're able. Someone with integrity would be able to say, "Listen,
I get it.
I get it. You did me wrong. I get it." And then be able to forgive that person and then let it go.
Yeah.
And not hold it over that
person's
head.
It's such a beautiful space to practice compassion for the other person and for yourself.
Yes.
So that's how I look at it for me. I mean, there are some big forgiveness practices I've had to do in the past couple of years. And for me, it's more, and it's actually made me more compassionate toward those people that and to myself, because it's really about we talked about that, the self-reflection of what we see in other people, and it triggers us.
Yes.
And so when I can be accepting of those parts of me, then I'm way, way more accepting of it in other people.
That makes sense. Now this feeds really good into the next one. They always give the benefit of the doubt. So, and what you call giving grace. Give someone grace, which is the same thing. You give them the benefit of the doubt.
Sure.
It doesn't make that doesn't mean the person with the that's coming from the place of integrity is weak. And it actually makes them a stronger person, even though it could be perceived by someone else as weakness. It's not. It's just giving someone a space of grace and giving them the benefit of the doubt. But someone with integrity will know to say, okay, second, third time around, or whatever it is, there's an ending point. There's not going to be 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
Yeah.
Because integrity is not just with the outward person, it's inward.
Yes.
Having integrity with yourself.
Sure.
So I think that's kind of what that's speaking to. But I'm always really big. I always say, well, I trust somebody until I don't. Meaning that I trust someone until they give me a reason not to. And then usually I'll give them grace if it's something that is, clearly not done on purpose type of thing. Does that make sense?
Yeah. For me, I just lost the train of thought. What are we talking about? I'm sorry.
About giving them the benefit of doubt.
The benefit of.
And I've actually had this experience with someone before, where he thought I was judging him, and I wasn't. I just kind of let him have his space for a year or two, and he came back and once he worked through what he was going through, he thanked me for not judging him, because in his mind he made up this big story about of me judging him, but I just gave him space and grace, and we were able to continue our friendship from that point on, which was, it kind of stopped me for a moment because I didn't even do it intentionally. It was just something I did. So it was kind of speaking to that about giving people grace. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But okay, let's move on to the next one because we've kind of covered that one a lot. The next one for what they have on this list is called, they take people's words. So they take your word, meaning that they trust what you're saying and that you're not lying to them, and that you're an honest person. Because like I always say, I trust them until they don't. I just said that. I'm saying it again. But what's your thought on that?
So this has been what just popped in my head was like a lot of people used to say, oh, you're so naive, or you're so innocent. And because I trust people, and when they spoke to me, like I'm kind of like you, I trust you until I don't. So people would tell me I was naive in that, because I wasn't. I was like, I'm giving them the grace to be who they are, and then I will make my decision based on however they show up. But
they only have to lie once, and that's it. Then there's always that question.
It depends on the person, and it depends on because it gives me space to sit with the information and go. And I practice filling it out for myself. And sometimes I'm off and sometimes I'm not. And it's not about being off or on. It's about, I want people to trust me at my word. So I'm going to trust them at their word.
Yes.
And if somebody takes advantage of me that way, I'm not the one who's losing out. It's really that person losing out on the connection with me, because I'm pretty damn cool to be connected with, I think, and enjoy and have a relationship with. So if you want to create that illusion, and I don't even know it's there until much later, I'm not the one losing out. What I lose out,
because they're the ones that are worrying about, oh my God, she's going to find out. Oh my God,
they're the ones who have to build their story, and I'm just living in integrity and living to my word and showing up as me. And if you're on the other side of lying that, and I don't catch it right away, that's not about me, and I have no regrets with anything I've ever chosen.
No. Oh, yeah.
And of course, as you know, I'm very straightforward when people do that. When I get it, and I'm just like, okay, I got it. And then I don't just what they call ghosting. I can't stand that. I will say, hey, this isn't for me. I wish you well, and I'm moving on. I don't give them a story. I don't tell them that they're, whatever.
They're wrong in their choices,
If they want to have a talk about it, then I will, but I don't make them wrong in it. But I choose me. I'm not going to try to convince somebody that I'm worth, being truthful with.
Yeah.
And
I'd rather you leave. I'd rather you leave
the
than
funny
being
thing
lied
is
to.
most of the stuff is that people lie to. I probably would have given it to them anyways,
Yeah.
or I would have done something with them anyways. But they were so afraid that I would say no that they felt that they had to manipulate and lie.
Yeah.
And then when you find out you lie, it's like, why did you lie? And then like, I lied because I didn't want you to say no. And it's like, that doesn't even. I mean, it's like,
it doesn't make sense to me.
well, it also tells me that they don't care about how I'm experiencing the connection.
Yeah.
So, and that's where they lose me. It's not so much about being afraid to ask me. It's that they had no thought about how I was experiencing it and how was I going to receive it. They just didn't have any concern, and not that they have to caretake.
But they may not have the capacity either.
Yeah, and so it's information for me.
Yeah.
So it's like, okay, well, nice to know you.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's just what it is.
It
I mean,
is.
if somebody lies to me, I have a hard time trusting their word again.
Yeah.
Or that little thought bubble kind of pops up in your head when they make a promise and you're like, are they,
Is that truthful?
Is that truthful?
Yeah. But you give them grace and go, we'll see.
We'll see, yeah. Okay, and the next on our list is they volunteer for good causes. Well, that's pretty straightforward. Forward. I think if you do something, if you're somebody of integrity and you're passionate about something, I would think you would volunteer for that type of work.
Let's clear up what volunteering is. Volunteer doesn't mean you have to go down to some building and do something. Volunteering can be something as picking up the trash when you walk by and it's on the street.
Yes.
Or, giving that extra quarter or dollar because somebody forgot.
Tipping your waiter and waitresses.
Tipping your waiters. That's a very easy one because you're out there all the time to really tip them because, they don't make tons of money. The thing is, that volunteering for me is a way to intentionally practice kindness. And if when you can do it for people that you don't know, you can actually show up and do it for people you do know. And it feels good on both sides.
Yeah, and I kind of agree with you. I mean, I guess people have, when they hear volunteer, they're like, I don't want to go down the shelter and volunteer. It's not. It's the things that you, like they said, the things that you do when people aren't looking, type of things.
Well, like our kindness rocks, that's a volunteer thing where we painted the rocks and then we put them out on the trail, right, for people to find with encouraging words. So, but we created that. It's like we wanted to do something fun and creative and beneficial that gave to other people. Well, you didn't sit on the trail waiting to see if somebody found it and saw the reactions.
Yeah, it's like, they liked it.
Yeah, it's just
we didn't need that.
We didn't need that. So. It's just that's a type of act of kindness. An act of kindness is saying hello to your elderly neighbor or just even your neighbor.
Yeah.
Volunteering isn't so much going down to these big corporations and do it, and there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
But volunteering is really just giving of service, no matter what that looks.
Being compassionate.
It is, and it doesn't have to be this big, huge
showing
production.
Empathy.
Yes. Exactly.
The basic emotions.
Yeah.
And here's a good one. They don't need to argue when they disagree with someone, and that's probably I'm not someone who argues. I just find it so counterproductive to argue with someone because it's such a bad form of communication.
It is.
I don't even like putting it in that category because it's not even communication. It's just all about me type of arguments. It really does go back to that. That's so ego based.
What was the?
They don't need to argue when they disagree. So it's okay to have a disagreement. And they can agree that they disagree.
Yeah, you don't have to agree with somebody and that's actually goes into emotional maturity.
Yes.
Just because you have knowledge doesn't mean you have to prove that you have knowledge.
Yes.
Right? You just say, okay, that's a cool point of view, or that's not my cup of tea, but I understand why you feel that way or why you might perceive it that way.
Yes.
And you honor their space and they honor yours.
And both choices are fine.
Yeah.
No one's right and nobody's wrong.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just that you get to live with your choices and I get to live with
the
mine.
outcome of your choices.
Yeah.
It's exactly that.
And then they talk about, and I'm really a big believer because it's so easy to do. I'm sorry, I'm talking ahead of it.
It's okay.
They will never take advantage of you, even though you have the opportunity and the opportunity presents itself. You choose not to take advantage of the situation, and I see a lot of people do that, and I don't get it, because why are you screwing that person over? I don't get it.
Yeah.
Or that thing, or what that company.
They
or,
do, because it's a temporary hit of something.
I know, but I don't get it. Even the guys that you don't like the big corporations.
Yeah.
Oh, they screw me, so I'm going to screw them this time. Ha ha ha. You know.
Yeah.
It's not right. I mean, to
Well,
me,
it's
not,
like, living in integrity is being happy because of you, and it's not attached outwardly. And yeah, I know this one. I remember distinctively I was sitting somewhere, and I can't remember what the opportunity was, but it was basically something where I would be taking advantage of something, and I'm just like, oh, I mean, that's when I knew I was in that position.
Yeah.
Am I going to live in integrity, or am I going to choose this and get away with it? 'Cause
Yeah.
I probably could have, but I didn't, because I'm just like, I can't, like I said, I can't live with myself, because I don't want somebody to do that to me. I mean, it always comes back, because like, I mean, it's not that I'm trying to control the world, but it's like, I want to emulate what I want.
Yes.
So I want to live in integrity, so I'm going to show up in integrity. I mean, can I destroy somebody? Yes. Can I tear some things down because of knowledge I have? Absolutely.
Yes.
But it's not my place to do it.
Yeah.
And to gain what? To say, like, what? To brag? To stomp on somebody and destroy a spirit?
Yeah.
Why?
Yeah.
That's what I go, and I've had people stomp on me.
Yeah.
And
it
I'm
doesn't
just
feel
like,
good.
and it doesn't feel good. And I'm like, I would never intentionally do that.
Yeah.
So it's a big thing for me. It's like, if you want to be that person, I am not associating with. I mean, I literally had to tell the person.
That's a deal breaker for me.
For me, I literally had to sit across the table and tell a person that, because I was like, I can't even believe we're having this discussion, and we are no longer associating with each other.
Yeah.
And if you do this, I will. I mean, I threatened them because it upset me.
Yeah.
I don't know if I would have followed through, but I was like, if you destroy this person, I will destroy you.
Yeah.
And I go,
which is not the place to come from, but I get it.
No, it's not a place to come from. I was in a place of wanting to protect.
Yeah.
And I was upset, but then when things calmed down and we were able to talk about it again, because I gave them grace, and about 2 months later we came back together and we talked. And we talked about what the real issue was.
Yeah.
And, you know, some personal things between the two parties. So I was just like, you know, so I get it. It's easy to do. It's so tempting, but that's where you really
But it could even be the small things too, like, you know, you're at a coworker's thing and they have $2 sitting out on the
and you take the $2.
and you take the $2. You don't think, oh, it's only $2.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, but I'm sorry, that's not coming from a place of integrity, or you're breaking your trust. You're not honest with. I mean, that's breaking like every rule on this damn.
So if you can do it
list.
to somebody else, I know that you can do it to yourself. So it's really, you shortchange yourself and you shortchange
And I always
others.
think, well, if you can do this, that means you can do that,
Yeah.
and that's, you know, it wouldn't take much for you to go from $1 to $100 or $1 to $1 million. I'm like, why would I trust you?
Yeah.
It's not about the amount; it's about the action.
It is.
And I mean, it just blows my mind, because people are able to what's the word I'm looking for? They to justify it.
Yeah.
So okay, so moving forward, the last one, they're honest, and that's true. They're just honest they're honest with themselves, and they're honest with the other people. I think that is integrity. That's probably a good description.
Honest is really important, but it's amazing how many people say they want honesty in their life, but when they get it, they're just like, oh, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean,
Because
even
it's
those
the reality
tough spots.
versus the illusion.
Yeah.
And if somebody can step in integrity and speak their truth, and I mean in a way that's loving, and to say this is my preference, or this is what I want, and then people just hear it through their filters, or they're just like, oh wow, that's like I'm told a lot that I'm blunt, and I don't see myself as blunt. I see myself as being, I'm just telling you, I'm not blunt in like I'm beating somebody up emotionally, but if you ask me a question, I'm going to give you a truthful direct answer.
Yeah.
And I don't really sugarcoat it.
Yeah, people don't. I've come across that, and it's hard. Sometimes people say they want to hear the truth until they hear the truth, then they don't really want to hear it.
We got to distinguish. Like if I'm out hanging with my friends and dancing, I'm not gonna. If they ask me, I'm not gonna go there. I'm their friend.
Yeah.
But if I'm having a conversation with one of my clients or with somebody in a professional setting, it's a whole different tone.
Yes.
And it's not that I'm not being truthful, but it's none of my business. But if you're making it my business, like being a client or, you know, corporation, you're seeking the information from me,
you're gonna get it.
You're gonna get it. But
if you ask, I mean, I don't delve out my opinions unless somebody asks me. And then even then, I'm like, I don't know if I want. I mean, I'm not always willing to even step up to the plate at that time.
Well, when I do this, with friends or whatever, I say, this is my. Okay, from the information you've given me, you've heard me say this. The information you've given me, it's only, one or two dimensions of who you are.
Yeah.
This is what I'm seeing.
Yes.
I don't know, because you know you wholly, and you're the only one who knows what it is that you want. But this is what I go, do you want to hear what I have to say?
Yeah.
I give them the space to say yes or no.
Yes.
I don't give a shit.
Yeah.
Whether or not they want to. But if you want it, I'm more than willing to share
Yes.
it. I could be way out in left field. I have no clue.
Yeah.
But whatever information you're giving me, this is what
Your understanding.
my understanding of it is, and this is my perception.
Yeah.
And of course,
and it's being filtered through your experiences.
it's being filtered through what I've experienced, and I make that very clear. And so I think it's appreciated on that level, because I'm not trying to change or fix or advise them. They asked, and I said, okay, here you go,
Yeah.
And so it's really cool. But okay, so really quickly, what are the list again? So can you go through it quickly, or?
Sure. It's going to be starting with number 1. Do you remember what that is? It's your favorite one.
Authenticity.
Yeah. They're authentic. Number 2, they know that other people's times have value. Sorry, I kind of stumbled over that one. They give credit to other people. They are humble. They apologize. They know when someone is wrong. They give benefit of the doubt. They take people's words. They volunteer for good cause. They don't need to argue when they disagree with someone. They will never take advantage of you, and they're honest. There's a pretty hefty list there.
Yeah, so I think we're going to end this with a question.
Uh-oh.
So, how
Not
much?
for me, I
Yeah, no, just for the person
General.
listen. How much integrity do you really live in?
Yes.
Only you know the answer.
Yeah. Something to think about.
Something to think about. So it's been great. This has been a fun list. We'll have to do more list ones. That's fun. And we're Just Blah. So go ahead and make sure you check us out at barbheight.com. Have a beautiful rest of your day. Peace out.
Peace out, my friend.